Hello! Welcome to another Office Hours capsule. That's right, capsule. Small segment of my Office Hours live stream that I do on Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub and youtube.com/TheAstroPub live. Come join chat here live as we discuss about Star Citizen lore, news, and more, and other things as well. And I'm not gonna lie, this feels a lot like, for those of you who are 40k fans, know that basically every story that follows a traitor Primarch starts with some flavor of, I never wanted this, which is probably why that's the thumbnail for this. Never wanted to make this video. But it's become clear. I've talked about this a lot on live stream, so this is something that chat has talked about several times, and I've brought it up myself. But it's become clear that I wanted to do this video. I originally I wrote up an entire script for this, and I was like, yeah, I can't really do this as a standalone video that's scripted and edited, because I think by the time I was able to get it done and released, CIG would have probably moved on from this issue. And I wanted to be able to at least address this issue in a way that I think would be important. It's important to address it, but I don't think it's in a helpful way that I think that CIG could do moving forward. And any suggestions I make here is probably already going to be picked up by other members of the community, or probably already said by your favorite content creator or you. But I want to do my best with what I see the problem is and what the solutions are. I am, of course, talking about the selling of the flight blades and the equipment. Funny enough, I think a lot more people are upset by the selling of equipment than AI blades, or not AI blades, the flight blades. But it's still a problem. And I'll address the very beginning. CIG releasing this, and then their statement to sort of deal with this problem is very underwhelming, to say the least. Let me pull up their statement so we have a full idea of what's going on. It's loading up. There we go. Let's read the statement. For those of you who are completely in the dark, CIG released their flight blades, which are modifications to flight. They're effectively subcomponents, and they slightly tweak flight of specific numbers of ships that either increases their speed or increases their maneuverability. And there is a lot of different insights I've seen where sometimes people say it's nothing, some people say it is something, and it really doesn't matter if it is or isn't. It's a lot of the principle of the thing that a lot of people are mad at, because they're only selling it in the store, and you won't be able to earn it until you actually get to the in-game, until the next patch, like 4.2. Now, that wasn't the information we had. The information we had when it was first announced that they were going to be selling these blades and all of the equipment like bomb racks and additional turrets was that it was going to release sometime after this promotion. And then that was quickly changed to summer. The problem is that CIG summer ends in September. And while CIG has been patching much faster, the MISC Fortune, which has been out since January, is still not available in the stores as of this, in-game stores as of this video. Maybe it's in 4.2, not that I know of, but it's been out for almost half a year and still hasn't been released in stores. So there was a lot of pessimism and a lot of negative reaction, rightfully so, because this was something that is seen as what CIG has always promised not to do, which is to become too pay to win or to sell, or to sell like power. It's kind of what it is. Now, after this blew up and the entire community hated it, everywhere you went in the community, you would see what is going on, why is this happening? And a lot of trust was broken, and still is broken from that decision. They decided to address it about a day or so later. This was on May 16th. I believe it actually came out on the May 14th, maybe May 15th. And this was like a day later. Throughout Star Citizen's evolution, one fundamental principle has remained paramount: Everything you pledge for to support or development will eventually be attainable through gameplay. Your contribution helps push things forward, but your time in the verse should be equally rewarded. We're pushing 12 patches this year instead of 4. We're crushing more bugs than ever, building more exciting content, moving faster than ever to make Persistent Universe a better experience for everyone. And in moving that fast, we missed a step. I will address some of these later. I really want to, but let's go through this. To be clear, the new flight blades will be obtainable for AUEC in our next patch this June. We followed our usual approach by offering early access on the Pledge store to help support development. But after some reflection, we've decided that for smaller components like flight blades or bomb racks, they should be available in-game at the same time they appear in the store. Our choices has and should always be yours. Or the choice has and always should be yours. If you want to support the project early, you can, but it's not required. If you own a game package, you'll be able to pick these up in-game currency in our next monthly quarterly patch. And for future gameplay kit introductions, we'll ensure that these items are obtainable in-game on day one. Thanks to everyone who weighed in, especially those who brought the heat constructively. This game has always been shaped by the community. Star Citizen wouldn't exist without your passion and support, or your scrutiny and feedback. We hear you, and we take it all to heart. So I'm going to address this first part. This first part is not an apology. This is an explanation, not an apology. And then the next part is basically saying they're still going to do this. They're still going to sell flight blades and equipment in the stores for money. You'll just be able to earn them in-game at the same time, which doesn't address the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is that these were available to be sold in the first place. I think CIG got the wrong message from the Hornet Heartseeker promotion, because that was always pitched to players as a one-time thing specifically for people who own the Hornet, which got a neat little skin and a turret upgrade, which would be unique to that. That was kind of delivered, proposed as a one-time thing for this specific ship. Most people got it for the skin, but when he was also packaged with that unique turret, it's like, that's neat, that's cool. But I don't think most people saw this as we're selling power. It was more of a we're selling a kit with a skin. Clearly, CIG took the lesson as people want this, we'll sell more of it, and we'll make money off of it. And this is where I get to the actual problem that CIG has. Since this has come out, the whole selling stuff, and then this statement, the sort of message that has gotten across that has broken containment from our community to a wider gaming community was that CIG is selling power in a way that is egregious, and it's because CIG lost $20 million 2 years ago. So CIG is in financial straits. They're going to fail soon, so they're panicking, and they're selling everything they can to try to keep the lights on. While I don't believe that's the case, and I'll explain that here in a moment, the problem is that CIG doesn't understand is an old political saying, which has shaped a lot of how politics works in the United States over the last 30 years, which is perception is reality. And what that basically means, no matter what your political beliefs are, is that people often believe once they understand things. The way I like to put it is, there are several boxes that you will put things in at any given time. Once you've put something in a box, say your friend, you meet a friend, you talk with them, you like them, they're your friend, you put them in the friend box. You will treat them like you would treat any other friend. Maybe they're also a video game, so now you put them in the gamer box. They're in a friend and the gamer box, so now you know how to talk with them, how to address with them. It's how we process information, it's how we deal with the complex realities of being human. But once we do that, it's really hard to change our perception on something. It requires something drastic and often very personal to change your perception of whatever you're doing. And so, no matter what's actually happening, CIG has been put into the box by these content creators, by the gaming media, and probably by the gaming sphere as a whole, is that they are now a failing company that is desperate for funds. Why is this bad? Because people do not want to be attached to a sinking ship. It's really hard to get new people to sign up for something if they believe that you're going to fail. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So CIG has a PR problem. They don't really have a funding problem. Let me explain. By showing off their current funding tracker. So, if the funding tracker wants to work. So this is a site called the CCU Game. It's been tracking the funds that's publicly available on the Star Citizen's website for a while, but it also has a bunch of motor data to compare it to previous years. And if you look at the total amount of money, they have earned, as of this recording, $49 million. Okay? This year alone. And if you look at this time over every other year, they're ahead by at least a little bit. Their best year of funding ever, 2023, they made $19 million in May. They made the biggest they've ever made was $25 million last year in May. They're at $16 million right now. The Asgard has yet to come out, which is probably going to sell very well. Plus continuing sales of a lot of different ships that are coming out. Last month, they actually had an increase of 119% in terms of new people coming in. They had a 5% increase in March. So March and April actually started to see the shift towards more people signing up than have had in the past. So we've been seeing, based off the data, more people have getting into Star Citizen, and the funding overall is much higher than it's ever been before. And there's a reason for this. The reason isn't sales, it's release. CIG has released a patch a month since January. And if you look at all of the previous sales in terms of the timing, whenever there's a huge funding boost in previous years, it's been around a release. It doesn't matter if that release is good or bad, it always has a huge sales boost. It doesn't even matter if they're selling new ships that release, they have a huge sales boost. So the message is the thing that a lot of other companies have already learned, which is you need to release the game, and people who enjoy your game will buy your game. Perfect example of this is Hello Games with No Man's Sky. Every update to No Man's Sky since its release has been absolutely free to download and play if you own the base game. And because they've done a marvelous job of improving that game, adding new features, they have turned around from being the biggest scam in gaming history to being the biggest comeback in gaming history. As of this recording, they're still working on their new game, which is based off of No Man's Sky, called Light No Fire. I'm really excited for it, and I expect they're going to do the same sort of model. Because what they've learned is that if you are consistent and you focus on the game, and you do so in a way that is like helpful to the people, your average player base, new people will want to jump in and play your game, and they will pay for that money. It's a lesson that many indie devs have learned over the last decade or so. Another great example, my wife plays a lot of Stardew Valley. It's done by a single developer called Concerned Ape. And he started off as sort of a CD project and turned it into a full game. But recently, he basically did a huge update to the game, which was effectively a brand new game added on top of the game that was already released. He didn't charge an extra dime at all. As a result, the entire community went out of their way to try to sell the game to new audiences because it became such a good, it felt so good to be treated so nice that they wanted to support the developer. Gamers are very, very generous to companies that treat them well. Arrowhead with Helldivers 2 is a great example. They may not be the best, biggest game in the world, but they've always cultivated a very passionate player base since Helldivers 1. And since it's grown in popularity since then, they've done nothing but try to encapsulate, hey, we still got to make money. We don't want to be a dick to our fan base. They still have, what are they called? Season passes, as it were. Various different skill trees to unlock, which give you different armor and weapons upgrades. But you can get, the game released over a year ago, and you can still get the original, battle passes from a year ago if you want to. And you can earn all of them in-game with in-game money without having to spend a dime. But they're like $10. So if you come back after a while and really enjoy yourself, it's really easy to pull out $10 and go, I would like a pack. Here's some money. Please help me out. Let me get access to it. And you still have to play the game to unlock those things. You just give access to unlock it in the first place. What are the lessons here? Well, quite clearly is if you do things like release games, people are going to be flocking to your game the more you release stuff. And if you're generous with your fan base, and don't try to nickel and dime them, they will open their wallets more often. Now, why do I bring all this stuff up? Because I believe the fundamental issue from my many years of covering Star Citizen and knowing many people who work at CIG, the fundamental issue that CIG has is corporate rot. Effectively, that if you work in a corporation, you know what I'm about to say. They've gotten so comfortable with how the model works for funding right now that they have never really bothered to change that. Because if selling digital spaceships works to make them money, then maybe they could sell other things that for the game make them money. And we can see that in that statement from Xylo. They always use this as a way of, hey, you want to help us out? Here, we'll give you an option to help us out, but you don't have to do it. You always have it in the game. And I think they've fallen into a pattern. They've kind of gotten lazy. And they've gotten into a pattern recognition that I like to use. The common analogy is that if the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And for CIG's case, if the only marketing tool, the only monetization tool you have is selling digital spaceships, then every monetization is going to look like selling digital spaceships. So I don't think they're running out of money based off of what I've seen, based off of what I've heard. But they're definitely getting lazy in their implementation of their ideas, which is a problem because Star Citizen's going to reach 1.0 at some point. We know that they're moving towards that. That's their clear vision, the direction that they're going to be moving towards. Everything internally has said that. CIG has gotten so much better over the last year. We were talking about this in chat earlier. Like, the game is significantly more playable than it has ever been. It is in a better position ever, and it's poised with a 4.2 update to add a bunch of new features, which likely will dramatically improve and change the experience of Star Citizen towards what it's supposed to be for 1.0. They just released the Idris. This should be a victory lap for CIG. But instead, we're paying attention to a subcomponent issue, which I guarantee you 4 people thought about at CIG. The people who make them. And the monetization people, marketing, whoever's in charge of monetization, effectively was just using the same old tool they've used for everything to fix the problem. So, I've laid this out. What's the solution? I'll be very quick because I know it's been 20 minutes. The solution, in my opinion, is fourfold. The first thing they should do is remove it from the store immediately. All equipment packs, all blades, tomorrow, this hour, this minute, just take them off. Don't refund anybody. Let other people, they purchased it, let it happen. Take it off the store, never sell it again. Do not sell these things. It's bad luck. It's not going to be successful. Do not sell them. Pull them off right now. That will start the process of winning back trust. It's going to take you a year or longer, CIG, to fix this problem, but it starts with that move because it shows that you care. A statement is easy to make. An action is more important. Number 2, they need to start allowing for all new ships that are sold and in-game. So like right now, the TAC should be available for rent. You should be able to rent the TAC in the store, in-game right now. I think you can because it's Invictus, but that's my point. You should be able to at least rent every ship the second it comes into the game. Because CIG has already done this and knows it works. Because Invictus and IAE, you can rent every ship in the game, or almost every ship in the game. And those sales always are huge. You often can even rent the ships that are being sold for the first time. So they know that rentals do not cut in on their sales. And that makes the ships achievable in-game right away. And it's a solution you already have in the store. You've already built out the tools for it. So that is at least a medium-term solution to the problems. The longer term I'm not going to try to tackle here in terms of selling spaceships or not, but that's a medium-term solution. A more medium-term solution will also be the latest release that's coming out, the ATLS ICT is what it's supposed to be pronounced as, by the way, ICT, which is the combat mech based off the Atlas chassis. Don't sell it. It's too small. Don't sell it. Make it in-game only. And make more smaller vehicles like that too. Selling cosmetics is not a problem. But that requires CIG to actually put some investment and time into cosmetics, which they haven't really done in terms of like the tools and the features that they need to use for cosmetics. And the last thing I'll say is, the last two things I'll say, release Squadron 42. Obviously, they need to release Squadron 42 because that should alleviate some of the funding pressure they have. And the very last thing is revamp the subscription program. Absolutely everyone I have talked to, well, not everyone I've talked to, but there's a large number of people who come into my chat and are convinced, not just my chat, but I've seen all over the Star Citizen community, that are convinced that the only way this game survives long-term is subscriptions, is paid subscriptions. Well, I don't think that's the case. There is lesson to be learned in this. There's a large number of people in the game right now who would be willing to pay for a subscription service. If CIG can revamp the current subscription service to make it more palatable, give some bonuses, but not breaking the game. You don't want to pay for power, but there definitely needs to be some benefits, some bonuses. That would go a long way to improving financials without ruining the game, making it an optional thing that other people can get in game. Long term, I would like to see CIG move towards a cosmetics-based economy. I wouldn't even mind a battle pass-like system if it was done similar to Helldivers, but I don't think it really works with Star Citizen. But there are some methods out there that they could probably do, which would be nice to do, give you some money, give CIG some money for continuing to develop, but not egregious like the current implementation is. I wanted to offer solutions rather than just complaints, because it's easy to complain. It's harder to give a solution to the problem. But as somebody who's followed the project a long time, and I have a stupid hobby of following game development over the last decade or so, because my brain is broken and I find this kind of stuff fascinating, I wanted to give my 2 cents and my experience. So let me know in the comments below if this makes sense or not. If you like this, if your own solution is, with the caveat that please don't attack the devs directly, because this isn't John Crew's fault. This isn't Elliot's fault, even though I know we all want to blame Elliot for things. This is somebody in management made this decision. Their marketing or Chris Roberts or somebody in the management position made these decisions, and they're the ones who need to change their mind. So try to address that problem. Don't blame the entire devs. Okay. And if you did like this, I'm live Thursday through Mondays. Twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, YouTube.com/TheAstroPub live. Like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified of release. Thank you again for watching, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.